Welcome to the Dr. Leadership Show, where we take a look at how you approach your work and personal life and how we can make the most out of both of them. A weekly get-together where we get real about self-improvement and development as we all make this not-so-easy journey through life. Our discussions will cover ideas and concepts from how to grow your career to how to lead your family towards prosperity and happiness. We don't pretend to know it all, and the doctor is the first to be vulnerable, discussing his own weaknesses, both past and present. This is about growing together and having some fun while we discuss what is happening in the crazy world we live in and how to make the most of it. Let's strive for awesome together. Let's get after it. Hey, good day, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Dr. Leadership Podcast. Hope you're having an awesome weekend. Another week of college football in the books. My team is 3-0. Feeling good about it. Finally put some offense up. Hope you're having a great weekend. Fall is coming upon us here, and it is beautiful. Love the fall weather. Little sweatshirt weather coming back out. Hope you are enjoying that. Time to get the yard ready for winter up here in the Midwest and start turning on the fireplace. But hope you enjoyed last week's episode. We talked about the Stoics, philosophers, and how character is fate. And this week I want to take on a little different tact here. But do remember, we'd love to hear from you. If you could reach out to us on the email at drleadership.results@gmail.com. We also can really appreciate if you join and check out the subscription content, and we can be reached at our website at www.drleadershipresults.com. Click on subscribe, check it out. You get early access, great interviews, etc. Uploaded last week also the Russell R.C. Brown interview, the F-15E Strike Eagle fighter pilot, 650 hours of combat experience. If you haven't checked that out, please do. Also, we'll be uploading this next week a great interview with the COO and president of Alpha Graphics Incorporated, Ryan Ferris. Just an amazing leader who had to take on a lot of hardship early on in life and faced a lot of hard. And I want to talk about something that actually comes from the actor Michael Caine. If you don't know Michael Caine, check him out. Been around a long time. He might be dead now. I got to look that up. But great comedic and dramatic actor, and dozens and dozens of great movies. You'd recognize him, a British fellow. And he had a statement that he used. And episode 52 here today, we're going to call what his statement was that he learned years ago. And it is, use the difficulty. And what this is really all about is how do you take something that is hard and use it to your advantage, to advance in some manner. So let's face it, life is hard. Get over it. Life is hard. Get through it. Life is hard. Get used to it. Life is hard. Get after it. Life is hard. Handle hard better. That is a statement, and there's a clothing line and everything. My wife has the sweatshirt. It's just awesome. We were actually talking about this in an event this weekend. I'm going to touch on in a minute too. But Kara Lawson, the Duke women's basketball coach, says this, and my wife and I are pretty motivated people. We try to help others be motivated as well. And it is her kind of call sign, this Kara Lawson, great coach, by the way, great player, handle hard better. And it's really just an approach to life to be able to understand that this isn't a bowl of cherries, as my 94-year-old mom would say. It is it's a challenge in life. And Michael Caine says, use the difficulty. Kara Lawson says, handle hard better. There's a number of analogies here. But in life, there's a couple types of people in this world. There's those that get over it, those that get through it, those that get used to it, those that get after it and handle adversity better. And the second type of people are the ones that don't. And many times play the victim attitude of it. It is not easy to keep yourself motivated and pumped up. Being a leader of people, it is important to always try to remind people of the context of life in the grand scheme. So this weekend, very, very blessed that my family started, blessed to be associated to the prior generation, my father, my dad's two brothers, his sister, And there was a large company here in Des Moines that was family owned for years and years and years. And when that thing was sold off to a large Fortune 500 company back in 2002, the families, some made more significant than others, but made large donations and created Taylor House, which is the hospice here in Des Moines for Unity Point Healthcare Systems. And we had what we call Hops for Hospice this last weekend. And it is a fundraiser so as to ensure that no one ever that can't afford hospice care, that doesn't have the ability to have some of the things they need at home as they find themselves in the final hours of that final journey of life, are well taken care of. And the reason I bring this up is there are a lot of things that we need to put in context about what we're facing, and are we really handling hard better or not? There are people that are literally dying. There are people that don't have food on the table. There are challenges in life that everyone is trying to overcome. And sometimes we get lost up in our own mindset that we got a little struggle at work, or we've got a little financial hurdle to get over, and we suddenly can go into this victim type attitude. So handle hard better, use the difficulty. And again, like I said, Michael Caine gave me this idea for this week's title, Use the Difficulty. It was guidance from a director of his. This is years ago. I mean, Michael Caine's in his 80s at least, and has been acting for decades. And he had a director of an improv troupe that he was working with decades ago. When a scene wasn't going right, or he gave the description that he was behind a door, and there was a man and woman in a scene, and it kind of went off the rails, so they started improvising on a big fight, and they threw some things around, and a chair went up against the door he was supposed to open up, and he couldn't get the door open, and he yelled himself kind of cut on this scene, and the director said, "What's the matter?" He says, "I couldn't open the door." And the director told him to use the difficulty. If it's going to be, if it's a dramatic difficulty, make it more dramatic. If it's a comedic opportunity, make it more comedic. But use the scene to impact or drive the thing in a further direction. Use the difficulty instead of folding up tent and not taking on the day. Same thing holds true with the coach, Kara Lawson. She's saying, hey, guess what? Practice is hard. Handle hard better. Losses are hard. Handle hard better. Injuries are hard. Handle the comeback better. There's a lot of things in life that are going to be very, very challenging that you have to learn to get over, get through, get after yourself, because no one's going to be there to save you forevermore. Same thing can be done in life in all sorts of ways. Make the most of the situation. Don't just sit back and have this pity party stuff. And we cover this a lot. But what I see in today's world are a lot of people that just, one of two things, a give up attitude or complain about everything. It's always woe is me, or things aren't going my way, or we're not being treated right. Man, there's just no easy route through this great adventure of life, so you might as well get after it. So Inc. magazine has, and I've talked about Inc. before, has a nice article this month that took that Michael Caine philosophy too, and brought a number of things to bear for me to discuss with you. So emotional intelligence, we've discussed a number of times on the show. Remember, people with leaders especially, better emotional intelligence serves you better than intellectual coefficient, or IQ. EQ serves you better than IQ in the grand scheme of life. We've discussed this a number of times on the show. Using this 3-word phrase, use the difficulty, allows you to change your perspective and move forward, move on, move through it in that emotional situation you're facing. So an emotional, intelligent person will look inward and say, how can I take what's been laid before me as a challenge or obstacle and utilize a different mindset or whatever might be the case to start to get through this? Use the difficulty is an amazing way to shift that mindset. Uncouple your toughness. You have faced things of challenges before in your life, I promise you. Whatever you're facing right now, there has been something before you before today that was also challenging. And you got through it. You look back and it wasn't all that bad after all. Use the difficulty to remind yourself of this. Many times, when we face challenges, we focus on the end of the situation and how things are bound to change for the better. And that can be helpful, right? Oh my gosh, I'm really sick. Well, eventually I'll be out of rehab, or I'll be at physical therapy, or whatever might be the case. But I will, I'll enjoy that it's over. Maybe the mindset like that. And that can be helpful, right? Looking at the horizon, you can help yourself mentally get through some of these situations. But the power of the use the difficulty statement and those three powerful words is you can gain reward right now. It's transformational. It makes lemonade out of lemons right away. Instead of talking about how things will be, you can utilize how things are. I'll tell you what, shouldn't have done that. I'll never do that again because of whatever the situation is you're in. Turn it into suddenly I'm going to respond with the lesson learned for a few minutes, and you don't have to wait until 6 months down the road, a year down the road, whatever it might be. That allows you to see an escape from the situation that you're facing. By doing this, changes or challenges become opportunities, not a hindrance. The glass goes from empty to refillable. We've talked about that before too. Just that little, there's always been this, is the glass half empty? Is the glass half full? No, man, the glass is refillable. You don't have to look at life that this thing that you're in is either the make or break moment. There's nothing in life that is really like that. I mean, you jump off a bridge without a parachute, that's a make it or break it decision. But in the grand scheme, in context of what this big life is all about, very seldom are you facing something that is the end of your means, or the end of your life, or the end of your career, or the end of good things that are going to happen at one time, just hitting you right in the face. Change that attitude, that mindset, and use the difficulty to make opportunities out of these hindrances. Try new things. Trying new things, changing the mindset, embracing change are difficult emotionally. It's harder to have that kind of attitude, but successful people have that kind of attitude. They're better at handling hard. They are able to use the difficulty. By embracing using the difficulty mindset, it allows you to free your mind and embrace getting out of your comfort zone. Find a new way to move forward or succeed. Find what works in that new way that you've had to take on suddenly, and then double down on those things that work. You get banged up going one direction in life, turn and go a different direction. You don't get banged up, you see some progress, put more effort into the thing that's driving progress. Maybe your life is hard. Maybe the life that is hard is financial. Maybe it is your job. Maybe it's your marriage. Maybe it's a friendship issue. Maybe it's a parenting issue. Handle hard better. Sometimes handling hard is still being hard on whatever the situation is. Sometimes you got to just keep leaning in to doing the right thing that may not be popular to others. If financials you're hard, what's the lesson? Use the difficulty. Maybe you've gotten yourself in a bunch of debt. Get another job. Find another way every week to make a little bit of money. Cut your spending. Use the difficulty, the financial obligations that you've gotten yourself into, to reset your spending and your budgetary control. That is using the difficulty to create a good thing for your future. I'm not going to use the credit cards any longer. I'm not going to spend money frivolously. I learned my lesson. I can't go out to eat 3 days a week. I only go out to eat 1 day a week or every other week. I'm not going to go on every trip that my friends go on. Maybe they have a job that pays them more. Maybe they're just living debt to debt too. I can remember driving around in the wealthy part of the city when I was young, and my dad said to me one time, he said, "Man, look at those houses. They must really have a lot of money." That's what I think it was. I'm trying to remember what my state was. They must really have a lot of money. My dad said, "Unfortunately, a lot of these people, son, have a lot of debt." So you're living fancy on payments. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it if you can't pay cash needs to be the attitude, especially to young people out there. Don't get yourself in the trouble. Don't try to keep up with those Joneses. You know what I say? The Joneses are your enemies. By using the difficulty with emotional intelligence and changing your mindset from one of victimhood to aggressively attacking that issue, you will undoubtedly, that's a tough one today, see improvement. When you're younger, it's easy to feel defeated. And your lack of, it really comes from, I saw this in my own kids, still see it in my own kids at times, and I see it in people my age around me. They lack the self-confidence. For some reason, the one they can count on the most, because you yourself can determine if you're going to go after something or not, they trust the least. Their self-confidence is shitty. When you're younger, don't feel defeated. Don't have a lack of self-confidence to try these new mindsets. Lean into it. It's amazing how good you feel when you fight off a challenge yourself. First of all, you probably won't do that thing that got you in trouble again. You've used the difficulty. You've handled hard better to learn a lesson. If you're getting bailed out or you aren't handling the hard and just playing victim, you're going to go right down that same road again. Never, ever, I talk about sports a lot. Never, ever has there been an All-American that used the woe is me to reach excellence. Never, ever has there been a star of anything in life that took the victim attitude. They all used difficulties. They all handled hard. They all went after it to continue their pursuit of their dreams. Remember, dreams are just dreams without setting goals and going after them and accomplishing them on your own. Unless you win the lottery, this friggin' orbit that's spinning around the sun isn't going to just come at you easy. Life is hard. Steve Jobs didn't quit when the first few attempts failed. Warren Buffett started out with a couple $1,000, put his head down, had trials and tribulations. Multiple billions. Michael Jordan was cut from a high school basketball team, for God's sake. I mean, are you kidding me? Walter Payton, I've talked about sweetness before, went to practice for the Chicago Bears, practiced in the mid-'70s to very early, to the 85 Bears. He was on that Super Bowl team finally. Didn't get a touchdown. I was so pissed at Coach Butkus. Didn't give him not Coach Butkus. Oh, gosh. That's terrible. Coach didn't let him score a touchdown. I'll think of that in a minute. He would come home from practice and practice more. He used to say, you go to practice to learn what I have to practice. He knew that he was going to have to face hardships. He was going to have to be better conditioned. He was going to have to be able to hop up from a hit better than anybody else. That's what Sweetness had to do. No superstar athlete, no superstar entrepreneur, no superstar leader, no superstar of any attribute in any aspect of life has gotten there by not being able to handle the toughness that is required of life. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school team. Think about that. Michael Jordan. Not all of us are going to be Michael Jordans. I'm not saying that. I'm certainly never, ever going to be a Steve Jobs, but we all can drive self-improvement and personal advancement. Emotional health, financial independence, reaching goals, finding happiness, all require using the difficulty in your mind when you face adversity. It is up to you how quickly you realize it. It's up to you how soon you find your goals and happiness, your independence. Be a person that uses the difficulty. Gain the experience. Win. That's what it takes. This Inc. article made me think of a lot of things about my life, hardships. I've spoken out loud before. I had a construction company on the side when the market fell out in 2008. The market fell. I started a construction company in 2006, built some custom homes. Had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of personal wealth invested in it. And suddenly I'm sitting on properties making $18,000 a month in payments, and you couldn't sell a house if you were giving it away. I tried giving them away. I had to handle hard really, really good. Then what happened is a divorce comes along during the same thing. Find out my partner wasn't really my partner. That's handling hard better. Now, I put my head down. I had to raise 2 girls. You know what happened? I met the love of my life. My wife came into my life suddenly that helped me change my mindsets on outlooks, pointed out things in my life that weren't quite right. I was lying to myself. Use these difficulties and these challenges to help yourself. My dad used hard on me religiously, challenged me every single day. Don't be a soft parent. Be a loving parent, but teach your kids to handle adversity. Don't give them everything that they want. Give them all they need, 10% of what they want, and you're going to have pretty good kids. Don't be a helicopter parent. Don't be their savior every single time. Let them bang their knee. Don't rush onto the field. Saw that one time. A parent, one of their kids goes down with an injury on the field. Not life-ending injury, just a twisted ankle or something. The mother jumps up, runs onto the field to play. Are you kidding me? The kid was so embarrassed. This young girl, was field hockey, was so embarrassed that her mother had come rushing on the field. This is when my kids were growing up. What an embarrassment. How can that kid handle hard better if you come in as a rescuer that, oh, my little baby? You can build calluses and character, or you can build lifelong dependency. That's what you can do in these situations. Look internally at yourself. Are you able to handle hard better? My generation can handle hard pretty well. I can't get riled up or offended. This world is full of soft people and the inability to handle hard. Strong men make great times. Great times make soft men. Soft men make poor times. Hard men come in after poor times, make good times. Good times make soft men. Soft men make bad times. And I use the men term as a plural for mankind. Hard leaders make good times. Good times make soft leaders. Soft leaders make bad times. Same in life. When I say hard parenting, I don't mean physical. I don't mean emotionally traumatizing. But I mean build some character. Same thing of your employees, your coworkers. Get them to go over the hill with you. We're the greatest military country in the world. It's not because we feel sorry for ourselves when the battle's going strong. Put our heads down and go. Think of the Battle of Bulge, D-Day. Those of you out there that don't know anything about these, look them up. Look how the country rallied around 9/11. The Gulf Wars. Look what great athletes do. Quarterbacks that get hurt. Receivers that get hurt. Handle hard better. By doing this, you're setting yourself up to attain goals much quicker. You'll also look back and feel a lot more gratitude towards yourself and towards what you've accomplished. You'll feel grateful because you know how hard you worked for it. You'll feel proud because you know how hard you worked for it. Use difficulties in life to learn lessons, to self-motivate, and to drive to the finish line. And what you'll end up having is an awesome time. You're awesome. Keep that shit up. Talk next week.